Okay, small little update here. Had some extra A's from work on some stuff, so I filled in some seams. I added a little bit of like angle stuff here, same over here, and I'm doing like types of little angle things up around in here. Just kind of have, because with it go like that, you get all these different like you know, angles and little weird things. So I might add more up around in here. Just little things, but it's coming together pretty well. Did some priming and some sanding. Smoothed out pretty well. Not really focused on this side too much because this is the side I'm, mostly thinking that's going to be showing. So that's where I'm at now. So I'm just going to just keep plugging away, and we'll see what happens once we get closer to finish. Okay, next up is I'm going to add magnets to the base because we're getting ready to the point where this is almost going to be ready to be painted up. I've been fine-tuning it, getting it smoothed out, and I like the where it's going, like right about there. So what I did is, you can see, I kind of marked out a line and where the magnets go. So I got these two magnets here, and what I'll do is I'm going to drill this area first, and then I'll eaves this magnet in first here, and then I'll worry about this magnet because I want to make sure I'm lining them up correctly, because once it's all said and done, I'm actually going to put rubber pads on the bottom of these as well, so it's going to be lifted. So you don't want to, you want to make sure everything's flush this way, so when it's raised up a little. And the reason why I'm doing the magnet is I want it to be able to stay, because I don't want it to flop. If it's in someone's shelf or something, I don't want it to like flop and hit her or fall over here. I mean, if the person wants to throw it over to here, they can, but I'm not going to do a magnet on both sides. I'm just going to do it on here, because that's kind of my main objective, is right there. So I'm just going to go drill that in, and then I'll start, filling with A's and everything and getting it all set up. Okay, so last night I had some extra A's, and what I did was I put the magnet in here, and it worked out pretty good, and then I sanded it down today. So there is a layer of A's over the magnet, but that's the way I wanted it. So this magnet lines up there correctly. So the next step is, what I like to do is, when I do magnets like this, I like to keep this magnet here, but I'm going to throw A's into here, and then I'm going to push it in there so it's lining up. And then I'll pop it out and line it up. So this way I get a little bit of a guy line for here, and then once that's there, I can take the magnet off and kind of push it in a little bit, and then cover some A's, and then sand this down. So I don't want the magnets to actually be touching. I just want to keep it so this way it just pretty much holds on to it, and it just doesn't go anywhere. I just need some kind of a magnet going, not something where it clicks, because if it's clicking all the time, magnet to magnet, that's going to get all chopped up and banged up, and I don't want that. So just go get some A's mixed up, and then we can try to make the space for it. Okay, so I put in some A's, and I had to make it really tacky because this A's has actually been sitting out for maybe like 2 hours now, so it's gotten really hard. But when I use my safety solvent and I mix it up, it gets very tacky at that stage, especially the A's fix it. But what I did is I threw my baby powder on here. So basically, you're just gonna put this here, and we just press it on. Kind of make sure we're lining it up correctly. And then we get an imprint, as you can see. So that gives me an idea where the magnet is going to go now. So what I do is I take the magnet out, make sure we're doing it in the right position. So if you want to make sure, especially me, you mark it here with a marker, and that's going in the inside, just in case you take it and you flip it out like that. You don't know which side it's going to go on, but we have our mark, as you can see. So what I do at this point is take the magnet and push it in. Hopefully I'm doing this where you guys can see. So take it, you can take a piece of wood, you don't want to use a piece of metal because then you're pulling the magnet out, and then you kind of push the A's over it. Grab some safety solvent, kind of, because the idea is to try to get it in there, so this way when you sand it down, some of the A's is still covering the magnet a bit, but it's still in that area. Alright, so it's built up a little bit. It will probably still be tacky. So I don't actually, at this point, you don't want to actually put it back on because this is so tacky and soft. I'll probably rip out the magnet. But I'm pretty lining it up with the where it is, looking pretty good. So now I just let that dry up for the night, come back tomorrow, sand it down, and make sure it's connecting and make sure it's holding pretty well. And if it did it right, everything works, then I go on to finishing up everything. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day, guys, and I flattened that all down. I just have to prime it and sand it some more, fill it up a little bit, but I like the way it's looking. I'm happy with it, and so now when we put it next to the base, it connects, which is pretty cool. Now before, if I didn't have the magnet there and I hit this, see, it would actually probably fall and hit the statue, but now it's kind of like it's going to stay in place now. So even if you hit the table, we're not flopping around or anything, which is good. So just have to prime it, sand it, smooth it all out. Probably use some enamel gloss coat paint out of the can and do a nice white gloss thickness here and a thickness here, just for protecting, because you know, if not for anything, but you know, if you do connecting it like this, you're going to get marks. I mean, there's nothing I can really do about it. But I mean, the marks are going to be hidden underneath anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's kind of a cool little, like, you know, Fortress of Solitude type base. And I guess the next step is, once I smooth it all out, start working out all the clear crystals. You know, I'm going to do a couple clear crystals, and we'll do one green one. And then once I get those in there, I could just pretty much start painting it up, and I can finish up the statue, and we can go from there. So once we get a nice warm day, which might be today or another day, I get out there and I'll get these crystals all shaved up. Alright, so the next step of this piece is I'm going to start taking these clear resin pieces that I made, sand them up, and attach them into here, but at the end. So I got to kind of go into the garage tomorrow, sand them up. I can't do it with the camera and stuff because I got to get my mask on. I got to get the vacuum cleaner to suck up all the dust and just make sure I'm not breathing any of this stuff in. So it's just a matter of sanding all this stuff down with the power sander and everything and getting some shards made. So that's my next step. Once I get the shards made, then I can start kind of cleaning everything up and ready to paint it. I'm going to leave some of the imperfections that are around here on it because you figure in, you know, the Fortress of Solitude, all those pillars of ice aren't perfect. You know, they probably ice and whatever. You know, I'm just thinking out loud. It's not going to be perfect. So I'm just going to leave some of that stuff there. The main goal is we got the magnet on it, it's attaching, and we just got to get ready to put the shards in there, and we can start painting it up and finish her up. Alright guys, so I was in the garage yesterday, and I took that clear resin that I made, and I made up the little crystals. So as you can see, I only went half with it. They're going to be kind of glued in at the end. They might have some little scratching on it, but once that'll kind of look cool, because once I clear coat it, that kind of all goes away. I try to buff it as best as I can, and I'll fill up these pieces with some like tin foil or glue or something, and then I'll put them in there just like that. And one of them I'm actually going to turn green. I don't know which one yet, but I'll have to use my pliers over here. I won't crush it though, but I'll get these pliers like this, and I'll make sure I don't crush it, but I'll kind of lock it in place. And then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to clear coat them, and then so these pieces will go in there and be hidden. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. Once I get them cleared up and everything, and then the green one, we're going to start painting them all up and get this base done. Alright, so I buffed these out as much as I could, and then I clear coated them, but each one is in a different clear coat of different paints I had. I figured, let me try something different with these. Instead of clear coating them all the same with one thing, I clear coated them with different brands of clear coats I have. And each one kind of has a different effect. Like one's kind of cloudy, one's a little bit spotted, one's nice and clear, one's got a little bit weird effect going around it. And so I figured each crystal kind of has its own little uniqueness to it, so I figured that would be kind of fun. But this one right here I used Alclad clear green, and then I kind of gloss coated it. I didn't want to go too green because I figure in different lights you'll get that little bit of a look of darker to lighter and stuff like that, so I figured I'll go as far as that. And then so I filled in these as well. I put some tin foil all down there up to a point. So once I get this painted, I can throw some A's in there, and then I can put each crystal in there, let it sit, and then that should be all done. So we'll be back when I'm ready to start painting these up.